Hello, 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 hello. Testing. Hi, this is New Year's Eve live stream with Ruby Guides. My name is Jesus Castillo, and we're going to be doing a bit of live Ruby coding here. Hello. So, welcome. I hope you're having a great day. This my site Ruby Guides, if you're not familiar with it, and today we're going to be doing a bit of live coding, answer questions, answer your Ruby questions, and have some fun. So I had the idea of trying out this library called Daru, and Daru stands for Data Analysis in Ruby. So let's try this out, and if you have any ideas for gems for us to try or any small projects that we can work on, well, feel free to post that in the comments so we can do that. So this Daru thing is a Ruby gem from the Ruby Science Foundation, as you can see. And we can try it. It can do a lot of things, as you can see, features. Let's take a look at the feature of this gem. So it has data structures. So a data structure is like an array, a hash, even a string could be considered some kind of data structure. It will be a bit of a stretch, but the idea of a data structure is that it gives, like the name says, gives you a structure to your data, right? So you can access the data and store the data in different ways. So in a hash, right? A hash in Ruby, let me open IRB. Hash in Ruby is a data structure that has keys and values, right? So we can have Apple, that's the key, right? In this case, it's a symbol because it has the colon in front, and it can have some value. So that's a hash, as you might know. We call this a data structure because it has this specific structure. The structure is that we have keys and values. Then in an array, it's also a data structure. It's a different kind, and it's only values. We can push values, right? And then to access the value, we use its index, right? You probably already know this, but just giving you examples of what a data structure is, because many of these terms, they sound fancy because maybe you're not familiar with it, but this all that this is. A data structure is just a way to organize and work with the data. And it's very important to choose the right data structure, because when the hash has different uses than the array, right? For example, the hash could be useful as a dictionary because the key is the word, the value is the definition. But that doesn't work so well with an array because there is no keys. If you want to search something, it has to be by this numeric index. But you can't use a symbol or a string or something else. Okay, so that's a data structure, and TGM specifically gives us two data structures. It says vector, basic 1D vector. So what does 1D mean? Well, in this case, 1D means one-dimensional. The D stands for dimension, one-dimensional. So this would be equivalent or like an array. By default, an array only has one dimension. What does that mean? What it means that it's like a list. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's all in a sequence, and the only way to access this is with one index. What would be two dimensions be? Like for example, this data frame is a 2-dimension. Well, like a spreadsheet, right? Yeah, already says it here, a spreadsheet-like structure. That's what a 2D structure looks like. So 2D is like a grid, think like a chessboard, for example, or a spreadsheet. All of these are 2D, so there are 2 dimensions. And what that really means that there are rows and columns, so rows and columns. So we can do this with a regular array. All we have to do is to put arrays inside arrays like this. 1, 2. I'm going to add the commas in a moment, so don't worry. There are the commas. Note this becomes 2-dimensional. Why? Because to access one of these items, we have to pass 2 indexes. So before we had 1 index. Now we need 2 indexes if we want to access one of these specific values. So for example, if we want the 1, we will have to do 0 and 0, right? If we want the 2, we will have to do 1 and 0. So that's a 2-dimensional data structure. I'm explaining this to you because maybe you're already familiar with multi-dimensional arrays, but maybe you didn't know that it can be represented like this, 1D, 2D, right? And this GEMS gives you this data structure, but it's not only like an array, it's like an array plus more features. That's why this gem exists, right? So as we can see, it can do things like support time series. So time series, my understanding is when you have events that happen at a specific time, right? So for example, today is going to be New Year's when the year ends. So a specific time at 12 o'clock, right? The year ends at 0000 and the new year starts. So that will be an event, and that will be a part like a time series. Then we can have like 0001. That will be another time in the series. So a time series, at least my understanding of it might not be the best understanding, but this is my current understanding, is a series of events that have some kind of timestamp, and they're in this series. And with these gems, it allows you to work with this kind of data. I say single hierarchically indexed data structure. In this case, I'm not sure what it means by indexed data structure, but we'll find out. Then we get a flexible and intuitive API for manipulating and analysis of data. So in this case, API, application programming interface, right? And it can be used in 2 ways. One is that we are going to a website like GitHub, right? We can find GitHub API, and GitHub offers this API where you can request, right? You can request information from GitHub in JSON format, right? And let's see. Well, let's try Ruby. Okay. Well, That's a thing. Well, you can request information from the API and you get JSON back, and then you can parse that JSON from your site, right? That would be one kind of API. But another kind of API is the one that is you could say offered or done by gems and objects and classes in the form of methods, right? So let me show you what I mean. Let's say that I have a class store, right? And this store can do things, and it offers some kind of service to the users of the store. Like for example, you can make a purchase, you can buy something, right? And it needs the item you're buying. So this buy would be the API of the store, the public API. So I can create a store, store.new, right? And then store.buy something, like let's say we're buying oranges, right? This buy method constitutes or is the API. We say that it's the API of the store class. And we had more methods that are public, so you can have public, private, and protected methods. If you don't understand the difference, I have videos. You can search on Google for Ruby public, private, protected, and you might find my article on rubyguides.com. And you can also go to all post, and it will be somewhere in here. The understanding method visibility in Ruby. So it explains the difference between public, private, protected. Why does that matter? Because public is what others can use, and the others are for your own use, your own private use of the class itself. It doesn't mean your use as a developer, but the use of the class itself for these methods. So to understand that more, go to this article. In fact, I'm going to give you the post index so you can use it. Oh, hi, Siddharth M. How are you doing? So that's the all post, and this is the post on method visibility. Okay. While we're here, I want also to mention my Ruby book. If you are enjoying this video and you enjoy my content and you want to support me and improve, more importantly, improve your Ruby skills so you can feel better about your skills, feel more confident, know more Ruby, and get more respect from other developers, right? Then you might really enjoy my Ruby book. It's called Ruby Deep Dive, and you can get a copy when you go to my website /rubybook. That really helps you and me. Okay, so that's my little sales pitch for the book. Okay. Now let's keep going with this. So this Daru, we would say, is a gem that can do all of these things, and it offers a flexible and intuitive API. So I just explained the two kinds of API, and the kinds are the one that's offered by websites or by your own website. Rails, it could be like your own Rails application, or GitHub, or Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, etc. They offer this API as a service that you can use, and the API is used to request information, right? But this kind of API that this README is referring to, this bullet point, this refers to this other kind of API, to the methods. to the actual methods that are offered as part of the gem and as part of the classes included by the gem. Okay, so that's, I wanted to clarify that because a lot of people don't understand this difference, so they don't really know, they're confused about what API means. Well, there you go, I hope that helps. And by the way, that reminds me that tomorrow I will be releasing a new video that I think is going to be helpful for a lot of people. It's called, in fact, I can give you a little preview of it. It's called How to Learn Ruby 2019. I don't have it right there, but maybe I can show you. Well, I will let you see tomorrow. It's going to be releasing. I already rendered the video, so I don't have the files here. But yeah, that video is going to be How to Learn Ruby in 2019. Very interesting video, I think. Now let's continue with here. So it's AC plotting, statistics, and arithmetic. Okay, so we can do plotting with this gem. That's interesting, and statistics. Plentiful iterators. Okay, so what's an iterator? That's like an interesting word. Well, do you know loops? Like a while loop, like we want to bring 1 to 10. That's kind of an iterator. More specifically, this is referring to things like map each. So if we have an array like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And we want to do something with each of these numbers, then we can use something like each. So each is an iterator. Why? Because it allows you to print every value, because it iterates. Iterating means that you loop over every element, right? And then we can print it. So that's an iterator. That's what it means by plentiful iterators. I'm just really going slow and decoding these features for you. So when you go into a Ruby gem or some project, you can actually understand what's going on, right? Because if you don't know what these things mean, like intuitive API, what does that mean? Well, I explain it to you. No, you know. Iterator, I just explained. It's like the each, you go element by element and do something with it. If you want other iterators, you have map. You might Google for Ruby map method, and then you have select, inject, many others, group by, have grep, a lot of iterators. So that's what that means. Now we have optional speed and space optimization on MRI with Nmatrix and GSL. Well, there is a few things to unpack here. So what is MRI? Okay, MRI means the following. So MRI means Maths Ruby Interpreter. That's what it means. So what's this? Well, maths, I think it's like this. Okay. So that's MRI. Maths is the name of who made the creator of Ruby, the original creator of Ruby. His full name is called Yukihiro Matsumoto. Sorry if I didn't say that correctly. Yukihiro Matsumoto. I believe that's correct. There you go. That's the creator of Ruby, right? And sometimes we call him Mats as like an alias or a shorthand, right? that's his Ruby interpreter. So what this means is your regular version of Ruby. So if you start Ruby normally, this is what you get. You get array. So why do we have this designation? Because there are other versions, right? We need to differentiate it from other versions. So what are other versions of Ruby? So we have others like mRuby. Oh, not mby, it's mRuby. Like that. So there is mRuby, JRuby, which is based on Java, right? That's why there is a JRuby is based on Java. It's Java and Ruby combined together. It's a very interesting project. And then we have another called Rubinius. So what is Rubinius? Rubinius is Ruby made with Ruby. Why is that interesting? Well, because MRI, this thing, the original Ruby interpreter, the one most people use, is made in C, in the C programming language. Why? Because C is generally faster, a lot faster than other language, including Java itself. Now, Rubinius is an attempt, and it works. It can be used in production. It's Ruby made in itself. That's very interesting. You can research it more in Google if you're interested in that. And all of these versions can run. It's the same language. It's the same Ruby programming language, but they interpret it in different ways, right? So that's that. That's what MRI means. And here, space optimization, it specifically refers to memory. So it means that it's going to be faster, speed, and space optimization. It's going to be faster and take less memory, use less memory, okay? So that's what that means. So as you can see, there is a lot to unpack in just this simple feature bullet points for this gem. So this is the Daru gem. And we haven't even gotten to install the gem yet. So let's just do that, gem install Daru. And let's finish off this list of features. So quickly reducing data with 5 pivot tables for quick data summary. So pivot tables, this is not a programming term. My understanding is that this is more of an Excel and a spreadsheet term, okay? So I don't know how to explain it to you. You will have to Google pivot tables if you want, but it's something that this gem can do. And finally, we get to the final bullet point. It says we can import and export data from and to Excel, of course, CSV. So what is CSV? CSV is comma. Let me write that for you. It's comma separated values, CSV. That's CSV. Okay? So what is this? Well, it's very simple actually. When we have something like this, 1 to 1, 2, 3. So notice this is not an array, this is a string with things, with numbers. It could be other strings like letters. This could be CSV, right? It's comma, this is the comma, separated values, and these are the values. That's all this is, right? So that's CSV format. It's a format for data that you might find is actually very common when you export data from, for example, Google has export function for your contacts, and the format is CSV. And maybe your bank offers, if you have online banking, your bank might offer CSV export of your bank, of your account operations, like you get this money and you pay these bills, right? You might want to export these operations, and maybe it's pretty likely that the format is CSV, right? So that's CSV. Hope you are finding this helpful. Now, SQL databases, that's the regular kind of databases like MySQL and Postgres. I really like Postgres. And you also have Oracle and Microsoft SQL. So that's all of the kind of databases that use the SQL query language. And we also have Active Record. What's Active Record? Well, that's a part of Rails. It's a part of Rails that allows you to interact or work with the database, right? It's like an intermediary, we could say, between the database and your Rails application. And you might not know that it's possible to use Active Record outside of Rails, so in a regular Ruby application, because Ruby applications can be made more than web applications. You can make all kinds, you can even make games, right? I have a little game, very simple, but you can see it. Let me show you. Oh, I guess hold on a moment. Here we go. So I made this little game using Ruby, and it's very simple. We just get random squares popping up. The colors are random, and then I can move the player, this little thing, using my mouse or using the keyboard, one or the other. And what I can do is I can capture, we could say, these little squares, or I can clean the screen like this, and the circle, this thing keeps getting bigger, right? So that's all there is. So it is possible with Ruby. It's not limited to, don't let other people make you believe that Ruby is only for Rails. There is way more beyond that. Okay, you can make web scrapers where you can get information from websites. You can use APIs. You can build PDF reports. You can do all kinds of things with Ruby. Okay, I just wanted to know you that you can make all kinds of tools, backup tools, server tools, maintenance tools, automation tools. Okay, so Ruby is very good, very complete language in that sense. Now we already did this. We installed the gem, and now we can finally try it out. So apparently we have some examples here. So let's go through the examples. How about that? Okay, so we can create data frame from CSV, data frame row. Okay. Oh, and if you have any comments, feedback, questions, or Ruby, or anything that you want to talk about, let me know in the comments. Love your videos, Mr. Castillo. Press start about Crystal 2 sometimes. Oh, I'm glad you like my videos. Thank you. SQ34QY2. Sorry, that's a complicated name. I feel like Crystal has the potential to reignite the flagging interest in Ruby as a payable back-end language. Well, I think Crystal is okay. I haven't looked too much into it, but I think Ruby is perfectly okay, and there is no need to look for an alternative, especially when the new version of Ruby just released. We just had release version 2.6. You can read my article here for Ruby 2.6, right? And it keeps improving. It's not like Ruby is done. It keeps improving. There are new Ruby versions. And have you heard about the Ruby 3x3 project? Ruby is going to become a lot faster, if that's your concern. I don't think it's that much easier, but it's a thing. And Ruby developers, the developers of the language itself, they're working on improving the language, okay? And they're still going strong. So I wouldn't worry too much about looking for other things for replacement. So that's that. But thank you for watching my videos, and thank you for your participating in this live stream. So that, if you haven't tried Ruby 2.6 yet, give it a try. It's already out. It came out on Christmas Day. It's really cool. It has things like endless ranges. They look like this. You see there is no end. So that's why it's called endless range. And effectively, it is like an infinite range. Really cool. And you can do things like this. You can combine it with zip. Zip is a very interesting method as well. I love it. You can combine to a range. You can combine a range and an array. You can combine an array with an array, right? So if I open IRB again, and by the way, I have a custom setup for IRB. Can show you how to set that up if you want. I think you might find that helpful. So there is this file called IRB.rc. I think that's the right file. Yes. And inside this file, you can customize your IRB. And this also works for Pry. So there is also a Pry.rc file, right? But for IRB, you can change the prompt like this, and you can have a custom prompt. So what that means is that you can make this part look however you want, right? So that's that. So I was going to show you the zip method because I think it's very useful. You have, for example, A, B, C. We can zip this with another array. For example, if the array is D, then what happens is that these two get matched together. So the way this works is we are grabbing one from the left, one from the right. One from the left, oh, there is no more to grab, so it's nil, right? Nil because it's not the same size. So if this was the D, for example, oh, there is another way to do this, like that. There's a little trick. There's a Ruby trick for here. If we do D, then it matches up because it's picking up one from each side, right? But this can be very useful because, for example, you can then convert this into a hash using to H, like that. So now we have a hash instead of two arrays. And a hash, again, is useful because you can access it very quickly using the key. So it's like a dictionary, right? Like that. So that's just to explain the zip. I really like this method, as I said, and it can be combined with this infinite or endless range in Ruby 2.6. Okay, so try that out. Can also be used like this and like this. So previously, before this, you had to use something called the float infinite constant like this. The float, what do you mean initialize constant? Infinite float infinity, I think. Infinity. There we go. So this constant represents infinity in Ruby, and if you want this effect before Ruby 2.6, you can get a very similar effect like this. So here's another Ruby trick for you. You can do this, and that's an infinity endless range before Ruby 2.6. So right here I have, that's how you check the Ruby version 2.5. So we don't have access to this yet in this version, but we can do this, and then we can do something like 10 take 10, and there you go. It works, right? And you could use this, for example, to get prime numbers and things like that. See what? Use another example. So you can do this. Let's do select prime, then take 10. Oh, but notice this is going to be infinite, as it should, because trying to look for infinite primes. So what you need there is to use something called a lazy enumerator, which I teach you about in my book. In my book you can find about lazy enumerators and other useful things, but let me give you the quick example here. You say lazy, and then instead of take we need to use first, and then it works, right? So that's lazy enumerators and the infinity constant. So let's go back. I was explaining this. Ruby 2.6, we have arithmetic sequences, we have major hash with multiple arguments. So you can merge two hashes. So hash, for example, we need to define it, of course, like a equals 1. Well, not equals, but that's what it is. We can merge this with another, merge with B2, and we get a new hash. So that's merge. But with Ruby 2.6 you can merge multiple hashes at the same time. So that's what this is. The new options for exceptions. So this integer, you can do integer 3, and it converts 3 into an integer, but it's already an integer, so there is nothing to convert, right? For the integer string 3, then we get the integer 3. But if I do integer a, this is an invalid value for integer, right? Because an a can't possibly be a number, right? That's what this does. Now this raises an exception. As you can see, argument error. An exception is a kind of error that stops your program if you don't handle it. So what Ruby 2.6 does is this add this new keyword argument, and I have an article on keyword arguments and other kinds of arguments, and this allows you to disable this behavior so you no longer get an exception, but instead you get nil. Okay, I also have an article about nil. If you Google for Ruby nil, I believe it's the very first thing that you get. And yes, we get back to this, don't worry about that. So random bytes, you can get random bytes, very simple. I don't think there's much to explain about this. Only that this is not only numbers, it can be any kind of bytes, including things that don't have a string representation or a character representation. Then ranges, this is just a fancy way to work with ranges. And trace point parameters. So trace point is not new. The part that's new is this parameters method. Trace point is a class that allows you to trace method calls. What does that mean? Well, let's say that I have a method called, I don't know, how about bacon? And we want to know when this method was called and from what files was it called. Okay, so we can trace the execution, we can trace the running of that method using trace point. So that's what that's for. And that's that. If you want to read the rest of that, go to the post. Hi, Jesus, thanks for all your videos, and your posts are one of the best. Well, thank you. Thank you for watching. I'm glad that you enjoyed the video and that you enjoy the post. Yeah. Thank you. So that's that. Tomorrow I'm going to be publishing as well a new video that's titled How to Learn Ruby in 2019. That's more for beginners. So if that's not you, that's okay. You can share it with somebody that wants to learn Ruby. But I'm going to share with you tomorrow in this new video techniques, learning techniques, and mindset that a lot of courses and books are missing. So this is going to be a very unique video. So look forward to that if you want to improve your learning and your Ruby skills. So this union and difference, one thing I didn't mention in here is that you can already do this, but with a different format. So instead of doing union, I believe the way to do that is with this symbol, right? That would be union, and these are called set operations, right? And difference can be done with minus. So these are the same, only that they look more like methods, right? Instead of symbols. So that's that. And in here it is just a performance thing, and I made this graphic myself and the benchmarks. You can see the actual benchmarks right here, the results, well, the code I used for the benchmark. And what this is testing is how fast is it to create hashes, right? Because when you create an object like a hash, it takes some time, even if it looks very fast. When you create millions of these hashes, these time adds up, right? It adds up to seconds and sometimes even minutes. So if you can optimize the time that it takes to create an object, your Ruby program is going to be faster, right? Would you agree? Because in Ruby we create lots of objects. We create strings, we create these are objects, we create hashes. If you are not sure what objects are, I have a video called What is an Object in Ruby right here in my YouTube channel. But basically an object is this. An object is made from a class. The class is like the blueprint. The objects are the products of the class. It's like you have a mold, right? The mold itself is not the object that's created from that mold, right? But and my mold, I mean this kind of mold. No, not that. Not this. Well, I think you know what kind of mold I mean. The mold where you put something like maybe I'm spelling it wrong. Do you know what kind of mold I mean? The mold where you put something and you get things that look the same, right? I'm not sure if that's plastic mold. Maybe that's what we're looking for. I don't know why we can't get a good image. More like this, right? You get the idea. You put the mold would be the class and the object would be what comes out from the mold. So yeah, objects take memory to create, and they also take some CPU time, some computer time to find out how to create it, right? So if we can minimize that time, then your code is going to be faster, and that's what's been shown in here, right? The comparison of creating objects, specifically hashes, in between 2.6 and 2.5. So that's that. Now let's go back to this, the Daru gem. I'm going to also show you something very interesting, called the Jupyter Notebook. I think you're going to enjoy this. And let's go back to the gem, because we started going through the gem and explain all of the features. And now let's see if we can actually use the gem, right? So we need to open or require for Daru. Oh, okay. I'm on the ground Ruby version, so that happens. If you're just tuning in right now, thanks a lot for watching. We're doing New Year's live stream. I hope you are having a great day, enjoying your day. We're doing some Ruby coding together. I'm trying to explain everything so you can understand what's going on and learn new things. And we just talk about the new version of Ruby, to Ruby 2.6. You can read my article there if you want to learn more about that. And also, if you want to learn more about Ruby, this is not for complete beginners. For complete beginners, there will be a video tomorrow. This is more for the next step after that, would be getting a copy of this book. So you can find that on my site, rubyguides.com. It really helps. It will really help you if you study it, and it helps me keep doing this work. I'm making these videos, this content. Okay, so let's try this. So I require the gem and not yet require Daru. Darina, Daru. Why not? Why you not work? Oh, okay. I need to be more specific, clearly. Let's find out require Daru or Daru, whatever. True. So now we got it. By the way, as a reminder, this is live. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to write them down, and I will be looking at the chat from time to time and answering your comments or questions that you may have. So now finally we can try this. So this is a Daru vector. So remember, the Daru vector is the 1D. 1D meaning one dimensional. One dimensional, like that, right? That's what 1D means, and that's the Daru vector. So I'm going to create this, and let's do vector equals Daru vector new. And yes, I could copy paste this, but I just want to write it down. And I'm going to add my own values. So what are these? Well, these are the values for the things. In this case, doing prices, I'm going to do stock, for example. So let's do 10, 20. Doesn't really matter what numbers we put in here. It's just an example, right? Index. What's the index? The index is the values in this column, so the things. So let's do our own. How about Apple? Well, that's already on the other list, but let's do orange. That's not on that list. How about blueberries? I like blueberries, and they're very good for your brain, if you didn't know that. Bananas, that's potassium right here. You want to eat healthy to help you code better. It helps with the brain. And what else can we put in here? How about coconut? I got some coconut water right now. I like coconut water. It has potassium and electrolytes in it. So name will be this thing. Let's give this a name. Let's say fruits. How about that? Fruits, not fruits. Right there. So I think we are done with that. Oh, look at that. It looks pretty nice. These are nil because they don't have matching values. But I really like, I didn't know that we will get this nice format table. So that's really cool. So I really like it just because we got the pretty table. Just because that already, if you are trying to do some kind of reporting, something like that on the command line, that's already pretty cool. So there you guys, now we get 40 and we can add 50 as well for coconut. So that's a vector, right? So as a reminder, this is the Daru gem. This is a gem, Ruby gem called Daru. Daru stands for data analysis in Ruby. Okay, that's what we're doing here. And right now I'm trying out a vector class. The vector class. Jupyter is from Python, no? Oh, it's also called mode. Yes, that might be right. It's also called cast. Jupyter is from Python. Yes, that's correct. You're exactly right. Jupyter is from Python, but it's also available And well, I use multi, I get the same thing. So, oh, there we go. This is what I was looking for, right? This kind of thing. Yes, Jupyter. It's for Python and other languages. Okay, it's not limited to Python. It covers Ruby and it covers others. There is a Ruby version. I don't know. Let's look what other languages it support. Jupyter kernel. There is a list. Oh, I want the actual languages. Hold on. We're going to figure this out. I guess this is it. So there, right there, see, there is for Haskell, Ruby, JavaScript, Julia, Go. This for all kinds of languages. Okay, even Perl apparently are. So there is support for a lot of languages inside Jupyter. Okay, and specifically there is support for Ruby, which I like. So this is what I was looking before to explain classes, right? So a class is like this part, this yellowish part. This yellow part would be the class, right? You have one, you create one of these modes, and then you can make many objects. So the objects would be the white part, right? And the white part follows the form, the shape of the yellow part. So that's that. So yeah, Jupyter has support for many languages. So that's cool. So back to DataGem, I really like this table formatting. And then we can access parts of this with vector. We can do, for example, Apple, and we get 10. Yeah, that's correct. We can get multiple ones, so we can do Apple, orange, and there we go. That's cool. I like that. What else can we do? This range. Okay. Can do this kind of range. We can change values, so we can do vector Apple and change the value. We can do 15, then we can print it. Okay, that's cool. And then it goes into data frames. So data frames is the 2D format, the 2-dimensional spreadsheet-like structure. So remember, it's like a grid, right? You can visualize this. In fact, let me give you visualization of this. Hopefully we get a good image this time. Yes. So this pretty much to the data structure. Okay. This could be an array, a 2D array, or in this case, a data frame. So we can create that. It's the same thing as the vector, only that we can have multiple columns. So as you can see, column 0, column 1, column 2, and before there is only one column. So the only difference I see here is that we get to have different columns. Okay. That's cool. What else is going on here that could be interesting? Oh, we get some statistics here, mean, so we can, I wonder if the vector supports this. Does it? Yes. So you get the mean. You can get, oh, describe. Let's try that. That's interesting. So statistics. We get some statistics about where this coming from. Well, from the data we have that we input when we created this vector. We use describe, we get the count, so that means we have 5 fruits. Then we get the mean, which I believe is the same as the average. Correct me if I'm wrong, which I might be, but I believe the mean is the same as the average. So we add up the values and we divide by the count. Then STD, I mean that means standard deviation, which is like the difference, not exactly, it's kind of like the difference between these, but not exactly. Standard deviation, then the minimum value and the maximum value. Okay, so I can see how that could be useful if you're doing statistics on some data that you have. What else is available? We can look here, time series support. So we mentioned this before with the time series. And here we get this example with random numbers, as you can see. So this 1000 times map rand, this creating these random numbers. So if you use rand, you get a number like that, right? So if you want this to be another kind of number, you can do like this, right? Now you get a whole number or an integer instead of a number like that. So that's what's going on in here. And yeah, that's the time series. So you can see it's like a date plus some value. And you can access this data using the timestamp, even partial timestamps, which is interesting. Like this, okay. Okay. Visualization. Okay, for the visualization part, I believe we need the Jupyter notebook, which you can use. You can install the Jupyter notebook. What this is I'm not sure how to explain it. You have to see it, but you're kind of already seeing an example. So what you can do is you can enter some code and then you see the result, right? And then you can do the same in another line and another line, and then you can keep this and save this like you're seeing right here. You can save this and you can see, oh, this is the input, this is the output, right? So that's basically what this is. And you can have your own version of this. You can install this if you install the Jupyter notebook. This is called Jupyter notebook. Jupyter notebook, to install this, right? And then we need to install another thing. We need gem install iRuby. iRuby, like that. make sure to type it right, and you will get an error. That typing it right helps. So that's iRuby. Okay, when you install this, then you can run iRuby notebook, and then if we open, we get this window, and then you can do new, and there we go. Now we can type some code like 3 + 3, and we get the output, right? And in here we have options like we can clear the output, right? And then we can add another. These are called cells, I believe. Insert, yes, insert cell below. Now we can add some other code. So we can do, for example, hello upcase, and we can run this and see the output, right? And these two are independent of each other right now, like, yeah, this like self-contained kind of thing. We can create more of these cells and have different code, right? So that's what this is. And in here you can use like regular Ruby code. So you can require daru, that not dar I, daru, or dar y, daru. You can require this and just do the same thing that we were doing before. So if I scroll up, find our code over here, we can drop that in there, and there you go. And it also looks like a nice table, HTML table right there. And you can format it if you want to make it look nice and pretty, like this. What I'm thinking, something like that, maybe. Whoa. Syntax needs to be like that. Okay, syntax enough formatting, and you can see the output right there. Then in the next cell we can reuse the vector, right? So here we can do the describe thing and get the statistics, and then you can save this as a file save, and you can even print it as different formats. You can print it as PDF and text. Okay, print preview. Oh, look, that looks pretty nice, right? So this is called Jupyter Notebook. It's very nice if you like playing with code and things like that, and maybe make things a little more visual than using IRB. Okay, so that's that. Do you have any questions about Ruby, about what you covered, Ruby 2.6, the notebook, the Daru gem? If not, well, I think I'm going to wish you a good happy new year and a good rest of the day, because we are about to prepare dinner here with my family, and we're going to have a family dinner. But in the meantime, you can watch more my videos on the YouTube channel. You can get my book. It's a good read for the new year. And you can also go over this post index. So this post index is right here, and sign up to my newsletter if you haven't yet. There I send a lot of notifications when new content, new articles are out. and when I'm doing new things that might help you. So in here the post index is right there. You click all post and you get all of these articles, a lot of Ruby articles that you will enjoy and learn from. Happy New Year, Jesus. Oh, thank you, Wesley. Thank you, Krenar Shatri. Thank you both, and thank you everybody that's watching right now, or that's going to watch later the recording. Thanks for your Ruby sharing. Well, thank you for watching, and thank you for your comment. Hope you're having a great day. So yeah, there is a lot of content there. You have videos, and also if you have ideas for content that you would like to see from me, content that can help you, let me know what ideas you have, because maybe we make a tutorial about that. So that's about it for now. Maybe after our family dinner and after it's actually New Year in Spain, maybe we live stream again. Who knows? We will see how things go. But for now, that's all. Hope you have a great day. Thanks a lot for watching.